Cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
On a league, check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
And best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go and roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I roll my sleeves up.
What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta. Ooh, messed up on my own name there.
What?
So much for all that practicing on my intro. This is Get Right Fantasy Network, gentlemen. How you guys doing tonight? I'm here with my boy, the one and only Fish and Frank. How's it going, Frank? How you doing?
Excellent. Happy
Awesome.
to be here. Should we start off a good week here, right?
There it is, man. It's Monday, and we're also joined by our newest addition to the Get Right family here, our boy, the FF Tycoon. How's it going, Tycoon? How you doing on this Monday?
Going wonderfully on this Monday, man. Happy to be here. Happy to be with you guys. Didn't know if I'd be able to join tonight, but nice to be able to sneak in.
Absolutely.
Do a little mock reading.
And you did sneak in, too. I was unaware of it until like a few minutes before you hopped on. So always a pleasure, man, when you can join us here. And so it's, announcement of the schedule release. The announcement of the releasing of the schedule will be happening this Wednesday, the 15th, which is pretty awesome. It's going to be about 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. for you East Coasters. And so far, we know the Ravens at Chiefs will start us off Thursday, September 5th, which is that rematch of the AFC Championship game from last year. And then I'm pretty sure most people kind of know their home and away, like teams, like who you're playing. It's just so much like the dates that we're waiting on. And I think the only other game we know is your Cowboys, Frank. We were just talking about it playing the Browns, I believe, week 1.
Yeah.
Which is also Tom Brady's debut as
Brady's
the
announcement debut. And I was just thinking in my head right now too that we were just literally just talking right before the show. I wonder if we're gonna have a because Tony Romo came out as a Romo Nostradamus or whatever, right?
Romo-damus.
I wonder what they're gonna get. Brady Damus. I wonder if he's gonna predict the plays like Romo was doing. He was doing pretty well. Just calling some pretty cool shots. Just throwing it out there. Hey, this is what's gonna happen next, and he was pretty good at it for a while. I think they kind of was like, hey, enough of that. But it'd be interesting to see what the GOAT has to say. I don't know if you guys watched the roast. The roast was freaking hilarious. It was awesome.
I heard about it.
Yeah,
I heard about the whole Kraft thing.
Yeah,
that's all I kind of heard about. That kind of blew up.
Like, hey, no more on Robert Kraft.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I heard about that whole thing.
Yeah,
but I haven't watched it myself yet.
They're like, that was enough of that. He actually got up. It's the only joke they couldn't let keep flying or whatever. I was like,
right.
No, Tom sat there and took it. I was actually kind of impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, if you can handle the vulgarity of a typical roast, then you will very much enjoy this particular one as a football fan.
For sure. I have to go check it out.
Because, it was football related. So I was like,
yeah. No,
and then Jeff was like, you're going to be on the show about fantasy football and not talk about that. I was like, well, honestly, he's out of the league now. He's irrelevant now.
He's old news now. Although he did make our intro as far as, being the announcer. So I guess he's still relevant.
Somewhat relevant, right?
For sure.
Still a go.
For sure. Absolutely. So we'll have to check that out, man. So we'll definitely, I'll get that queued up here pretty soon and see if we can, or see if I can go enjoy that thing, man. So let's get into it, man. So just to let you guys know what we're doing here tonight, we're not actually doing a mock draft. So sorry for anyone who was tuning in, looking for a mock draft tonight. We will be back with Friday night mocks this Friday. So if you want to get into those, make sure first and foremost you subscribe to the channel, have those notifications turned on, because when we drop those videos, there's going to be a link in the description of the video so that you can go join. Those things join fast. So, the people that have those notifications on, and when they see that new link posted, they can jump in there right away. So please take advantage of that. If not, if that's not working for you for whatever reason, always just hit me up at Rastafarian on Twitter. What else is it? Sleeper. I pretty much own that whole thing on everything. It's all in the description. And I'll try to get you an invite, especially if it's your first time and you want to come mock with us. But tonight we're actually going to go back to our grading. So for the last 3 years, we've always done a mock on Friday nights, and then came back on Mondays, and we break down the mock. We kind of give our feedback. From our perspective, maybe what we would have done differently, things we like, things we don't like. We kind of give it a grade, kind of rank the teams as well, which is also kind of how we do our mock draft tournament. So it's good to tune into these videos, because if you want to be part of that mock draft tournament, which starts July 29th, you're going to want to know kind of what we're all, looking for. Now, it's all different, so there's no way you're going to be able to draft a perfect team. I don't think anyone has yet to score a first place, win best draft from all 4 of us, and now it'll be 5 of us here with Tycoon joining us.
I thought we did have somebody
doing
last year.
The mocking. It was close. We had one person, I think everyone, and then somebody got a second place, and that was the most.
That was like the
most,
right?
So it was like 3
highest
6s
score, right?
and then a 5. I think was one of the highest. I don't remember who it was, but yeah, that was it. So
we got Gordy here. He wants in on this draft. He's like,
Friday, man. We'll be here Friday. So that's kind of how that will all go down with the mock draft tournament. Just stay tuned. Get in that Sleeper channel. I'll be dropping a post about that and how that all works. But the easiest thing to remember is it doesn't cost anything. Just come get in a qualifying mock, and we'll let you know if you move on or not. Like, all you got to do is just come ready to show up, get in one of the qualifying mocks Monday through Thursday, and we'll let you know if you advance to the Friday semifinal. And then the finale will actually be on Friday, August 30th, and that will be live streamed. And then the winner of that will win $50 cash. So we'll get into that more. And again, Mondays and Fridays here, we do go to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday in season. We'll get to that as we get closer to in season. But I, again, kind of in a little bit of a hurry here, guys. And I kind of left some jewelry at the here on my desk. I forgot to get ready for the stream completely all the way, because it's brought to you from our boys over at TrophySmack.com. Make sure you guys get yourselves one of these beautiful championship rings. Go to TrophySmack.com. Use that promo code GetRight when you check out. Not only can you get these awesome rings, you can get like our 1,000 subscriber ring there, fully customizable, whatever you want to put on it. They have belts, they have trophies, they have Kirk Cousins chains, all customizable. Anything you want to do on there. Our boy Tycoon here in the Scott Fishbowl drafts over at the Trophy Smack headquarters. He's in with the Trophy Smack people. So he's the guy to know over there, man. But make sure you guys go check out Trophy Smack.
It's an impressive operation, people. I gotta say, having been able to see a little bit behind the scenes, they're doing some great work, turning out some great product. Make sure you get your stuff from Trophy Smack.
For sure.
And I want to reiterate what Anthony said last time. I think you mentioned, hey, it's only $7 additional for your league, and then you guys could all pitch in, and every year, season,
$7
whatever,
a person.
Somebody could get a ring. You guys, put your league name on it, put your team name on it, and then you could walk around swag. I mean, show them that ring again, Ant. I mean, that thing's
I have no problem.
Massive. That's massive, bro. And that's a nice logo that we could put it for the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Extraordinary, not extraordinary. Extraordinary, gentlemen.
If you have a local league, a home league where you can actually have a trophy as well, those are very impressive and very easy to continue to add on.
Yeah, I seen the guy walking around his trophy in Reno last year, so that was awesome. Yeah, I want that guy.
For sure. So there it is, guys. Let's get it going. So again, tonight we're gonna do this grading. So we'll bring up the mock here. This was the mock that we ran last Monday. That was the 6th. So we had the fellas out there tuning in this mock draft. Myself and Frank were in this one. I don't think you made it in this one, Tycoon. So we'll definitely like to hear how your perspective on how this draft unfolded.
I can be totally unbiased now.
There you go. Right, you weren't even part of it. You could just sit back from that bird's eye view and let us know how we're doing. So let's get to it, man. Without any further ado, again, this is a 12-team Dynasty startup mock draft. 3 wide receiver, 2 flex, and the Superflex, of course. So we're going to get started here with the 101 team here. Team 1, Mr. Wilson 27, our ambassador extraordinaire. What's up, Fish? How's it going, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hold on, we got Jeremy asking a question here. We'll get to this, and then before we get started. Yeah, good stuff.
Because you were on a roll, and I was like, I don't know, this guy's got a question.
Yeah, no, we were good.
Brees over Gibbs, in their opinion. I'm leaning a lot towards Brees, man. He showed some flashes last year, and I mean, if they could only get better. I mean, that team could only get better. They should have a quarterback that's worth something over there. I'm definitely buying into him. He was able to outshine expectations last year easily.
And that offense wasn't even scoring touchdowns.
Yeah,
so
he wasn't even scoring touchdowns. Exactly.
No, yeah, I love Jameer. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, for me, it's a pretty easy decision to pick Brees over Gibbs.
Right, and we have Rini in here saying the same thing, Brees over Gibbs, and then we got the extra point FFB in here, our boy Phil saying Brees as well. So yeah,
I think Jameer's still also time sharing right over there, right, with Dave Montgomery.
Yeah, if there's anything you can say, like he finished, in PPR RB10 with only a 50% share. So you could say that, you could see Gibbs, and he is a year younger and hasn't had an ACL already. So, it's close, but definitely Brees. It looks like everyone's going Brees there. So hopefully that helped you out, Jeremy. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button for us here. And if you are subscribed, make sure you guys all hit that like button for us as well. Helps us out just as much as we continue to grow here. We're trying to hit that 1.1 thousand subscribers. So we appreciate all your guys' support. Help us get there. So now back to the draft. So we have Wilson here in the 1 spot. He goes Patrick Mahomes, followed by Puka Nacua, Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Isaiah Pacheco, then goes Kirk Cousins in the 6th, grabs his RB2 and Derrick Henry in the 7th, Travis Kelce in the 8th, double taps tight end there. This is not a tight end premium, with George Kittle in the 9th, follows that up with his RB3 and Nick Chubb, 4th running back drafted here in the 11th, Zach Moss. Then he goes in the 12th with Jacoby Myers, followed by Mike Williams, now over with the New York Jets at 13, and with his 13th pick. And then finishes off this specific mock. We only did 14 rounds here in a Dynasty startup. Normally you'd do a lot more, but he finishes off the 14th here with Curtis Samuel now in Buffalo, coming over from Washington. So, Frank, do you want to give your feedback on this team first, or?
I don't mind. The construction is not too bad. I just noticed the stack is a little bit more than I want to stack on at any one team. But with Mahomes, Pacheco, and Kelce, usually you do, wide receiver stack. Usually Mahomes and Kelce are always together. I'm not sure if I'd, stack on Pacheco, but he's been, producing pretty well over there. I like the construction of having the 3 wide receivers after that. As you mentioned, it's not a tight end premium. I'm not sure why he went with 2 high tight ends like that. But maybe that's what the best available at that point was. But I think I would have, brought in, a running back at that point, or another better wide receiver, just to kind of back that up. And then just went for another tight end later on. I also noticed he doesn't have the 3 wide receivers. And many other teams do have 3 wide receivers, if not, so some guys even have, I think, quarterbacks. I'm sorry, you're right. That's what I was trying to say. Just 2 quarterbacks instead of 3 quarterbacks, and we'd like to see 3 quarterbacks. At some point, we didn't get all the through the whole draft, but I mean, if you look at it, there's not much left. Even people are taking guys like Gardner Minshew and Daniel Jones down here. So I mean, he's left for scraps at some point during this. The guys have bye weeks. The guys have possibly injuries. Something goes down. You got to have somebody back those spots up. So maybe looking at a high C, low B area is what I'm looking at.
Like C plus B minus range.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Tycoon? What do you think?
I actually agree largely with Frank. I would give this a B minus. I love the receiving group. I do think this team has a chance to win in year 1. This will be a good year 1 team. I Yeah, but hey, I'm really concerned about the lack of a third quarterback. I would have taken Stafford or Penix instead of Kittle there, instead of double tapping in that spot. The running back position is a little rough in terms of general just age and fragility. While Pacheco's been good the first couple of years, still such a late round pick, and those guys teams do still love to churn through. So after another year or two, who knows exactly where we're going to be with Isaiah? Yeah, the stack with Mahomes, Pacheco, and Kelsey. There's a lot that's going to fade quickly, but for a year or two, it'll be nice with no trades. But yeah, B minus.
B minus. All right. And I mean, I guess not to beat a dead horse here, but I kind of came in just about the same. I came in with a B minus. I did think it was a win now build. I felt it was like a good 2-year kind of contender before we really kind of needed to do too much. Again, we all noticed no QB3. You'd at least like something there, but at the same time, like I don't think it's too crazy. In our Get Right Dynasty League, we all know Nick won the first year with just Dak and just having a high end wide receiver in that Superflex spot. So it is possible. Not something I would recommend doing. It's not for the faint at heart, but you can do it. Obviously, that's where you'd be looking in future drafts or maybe to make a trade. Or obviously with injuries and things like that, maybe there's someone like Josh Dobbs that, might come on and be relevant for a few weeks to kind of get you by throughout the year. Again, we all agree kind of taking that second tight end that early was a little, strange there. I felt like you really missed out on a wide receiver there to really bring this team together. And I also think the Nick Chubb pick was kind of a bad pick in this situation. I would have loved like Zach Moss and like someone like Blake Corum there on that turn. If you still wanted to go with Moss and just get, Corum, who Frank grabbed a few picks later. I think that would have been better for the longevity of the team. And or just having another young asset that could potentially be traded off or someone to kind of come in and replace like Henry. Or, if Moss doesn't work out in Cincinnati, then you might have a piece there, depending on how that backfill comes out. But again, kind of one of those lotto tickets that you're looking for. And yeah, I just think really after that 9th pick, everything kind of got a little wonky. So 9, 10, 11, and then that kind of just forced his hand. You saw he didn't take another receiver after his first 3. Didn't take a receiver for what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 rounds.
Yeah.
So the replacement value on those wide receivers, if one of those guys gets hurt, like you're almost done. Replacement value is a very important thing. To not have too big of gaps, when you're filling in for bye weeks or things like that. So again, just kind of things to keep in mind when you're drafting. But yeah, I mean overall, again, is a win now. I think he has a good 2-year shelf life on there still. To be a contender, and yeah, I came in at about a B minus, kind of maybe going towards a B. So there we go. So next year we have Nasty Hawk here, drafted in the 2 spot. He double taps a quarterback and goes Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence, followed by AJ Brown in the 3rd, Trey McBride here in the 4th. Then goes T. Higgins in the 5th, Brian Thomas here in the 6th. DeAndre Swift in the 7th, Deontay Johnson in the 8th, Alvin Kamara in the 9th as a second running back off the board. Then he smashes just wide receiver here. 3 nice picks, I think, for this build. Jameson Williams with Detroit, Romeo Dobbs, and DeAndre Hopkins, and then finishes it off with some running back depth here. Raheem Mostert, and then Jerome Ford. Both starting week 1, by the way, here in the 13th and 14th round. So I did like this team. Frank, where are you at with this team here? Or let's go Tycoon first. You went first last time. I'll switch it up on you. Throw you a curveball.
This is a weird team for me, frankly. It's a team seems like they really tried to straddle the line between veteran and youth presence. Try to win now, but keep it sustainable. But I'm not sure how effective that was. I think there's a lot of good pieces here, but I don't know that this is a team that is really going to be a strong contender in year 1. But at the same time, if not contending in year 1, it's not especially youthful either. So I feel like it's going to be some kind of middling team, and that's just leaving me feel empty. I mean, obviously, Allen's a great pick at 1.2. Lawrence, there's a lot of varying opinion, but I'm fine with him at 211. AJ Brown, great. Trey McBride, great. T. Higgins, I like. Don't love, but you're kind of in a weird spot in the draft there. But your core receiving grouping, Brown, Higgins, Thomas, and Johnson. Brown's great. Higgins, health issues regularly. Brian Thomas is a mystery box at this point. Deontay Johnson somewhat is in Carolina as well, so it doesn't inspire a ton of confidence. Doesn't get his first running back until round 7, which you guys know how I feel about DeAndre Swift. But after that, older guys, Kamara, Mostert, which they might be okay for another year. Again, huge question marks. Williams has kind of been a dud so far. I'm not really high on Jameson Williams. I think it's a bit of a face planter. I tried to sell him anywhere I could in Dynasty. Dubs, fine. Hopkins, they're fine at that point in the draft to try again to get points for now, but it just feels like it's not really going to be enough. But I do love the first 4 cornerstone pieces.
There you go. Go ahead, Frank. Where you at?
B minus.
Oh, yeah,
as well
great.
Team. Actually, that's what I would say. Yeah,
B minus.
B minus.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with them. It's the running back room is just a little older in the teeth. I mean, that's Swift, but I mean Kamara and Mostert. But like you said, they are starting. I don't think Mostert's done yet. I think that a lot of people are writing him off. I like Ford at his last pick there, and I like McBride where he took him at second tight end off the board. He was doing some wonderful things that last season. I think he's going to continue that and even be better this year. But like as you mentioned, it was kind of like straddling young and old, and I think he missed the mark a little bit. I'm still at a C. I'm at a C of this. I can't. The wide receiver group after that with Williams, Dobbs, and Hopkins just, you're throwing darts right there. You know what I mean? You're either hoping that one of those guys hits. As you mentioned, Williams hasn't panned out. Dobbs is hit and miss. Hopkins, he's had his better days. He's on this twilight of his career right now, and hopefully he has a revival over here at Tennessee. There's not much to trade with around in this team either. You know what I mean? I don't think he has a lot of opportunity. Because like Wilson, at least he could have moved on Kittle or Kelsey to get another piece. Obviously because of that whole situation where he took those 2 tight ends. I don't think he has too much wiggle room here to kind of get another piece. Looking at that, I'd give him a C. I wouldn't even go to the B status.
There you go.
Yeah, you're probably right in hindsight.
There you go. Well, I'm completely opposite of you guys on this team.
Yeah, you like it?
So hear me out. So I came in with the A minus on this team.
Wow.
For me, it's kind of my kind of build again, as you guys heard kind of from my previous, like I'm not too worried about, the QB3, figure that out. You guys know my current Dynasty team. I've been rocking with just 2 QBs and it's not great, but I mean, I've been up there, up there in the standings. So, I know it can be done. I just like that he, again, like you said, those first top picks were, good assets. Those first 4 picks, I think, it right on the head, kind of gave him just a nice core in a Superflex Dynasty to kind of build around. And it's hard again when you're obviously grading these kind of Dynasty startup teams, because obviously we all kind of have different outlooks on how to maybe start up a team. But more so of what I like to look at more so maybe than the actual players is kind of the build itself. So the fact that he got his just quarterbacks, out of the way, kind of top 15 tier, obviously with the number 1 QB in there as well. Obviously getting that cornerstone wide receiver and AJ Brown still, fairly young, at only 26 years young. And then, getting other receivers, even though all these guys are here besides Hopkins, who's like 32, everyone else is under 27. But we all know wide receivers are kind of assets. So, yeah, we don't know exactly what Brian Thomas is going to do. Maybe don't know exactly where T. Higgins is going to land, but we know, the talent's there. Tycoon mentioned the injury history. So, that, of course, that is a concern. I like the fact that he didn't invest, a pick before round 7 in a running back. Now, maybe you can argue if Deontay Swift maybe was the guy or not for this build, but I just think, again, as far as the construction side of it goes, I like that he waited. and built out those other assets again because it is 3 wide receiver, 2 flex, full PPR. You know, I want to get, you know, those wide receiver positions filled as quickly as possible, and really want to fill through the flex. Because again, running backs are just kind of diminishing assets. So until you know if your team's going to be competing this year, why invest early picks on running backs if you don't really have to? Because again, he's able to find literally 2 guys who are starting week 1, obviously kind of like a 0 RB, you know, type mentality here in the 13th and 14th round if he did want to contend this year. So I still think that is, you know, a way to go. And then, you know, again, these other guys do have question marks, but I think he got good value kind of out of all those picks. And I like the build. So for me, I came in at A-. To each their own, I guess. So we'll move on. But yeah, but I got you, Nasty Hawk. I got you right there. So let's get to the chat here real quick. Yeah, let's take a quick break here. Let's get to the chat here because we're here for the people. If you guys do have questions, comments, let us know how you're grading the teams. We want to know your grades. Drop it in the chat for us. We want this to be interaction. You know, we don't want to just be talking at you guys the whole time. So we have codename D in here. He says he's in a startup, or she. Oh no, looks like he got a mustache there, beard going on. In a startup, he has Anthony Richardson, CD Lamb, Drake London. He's on the clock. Does he go? Hopefully, he wasn't like on the clock, like a quick clock, because came in a little while ago. But he said, does he go hopefully. Goff? Yeah, hopefully slow draft. Does he go Goff, Drake, JJ, or Waddle or Pittman here with this next pick? So I'll give it over to you, Tycoon. Who do you like next? You're on the clock with this build so far.
I guess JJ must mean JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
I would assume, yeah. I assume that's
but then who's Drake May?
Drake May. Yeah, I assume those are all the quarterbacks. Yeah. Jared Goff, so Drake May, JJ McCarthy, or does he go wide receiver and Waddle or Pittman?
I go wide receiver and go Waddle myself. Although now that Goff's been G'd up and we've got a little bit of security in his situation, Goff's I would consider there, but ultimately I think I'd pick Waddle.
What about you, Frank?
I think I would take Pittman over Waddle, honestly. Just because
get that stack with AR going.
Yeah, and Pittman proved himself last year. He was, you know, I think we were talking to Bobby's draft and him taking Pittman, and that dude shined, you know. And just getting, you were just mentioning, hey, you know, getting these wide receivers in here, and they're necessary for these builds. I mean, obviously, we'd like to know, you know, if is he 3 wide receiver or 2 wide receiver in flex, or how the what their roster positions are in the league, right? But with that being said, if you still could come back and get the JJ or Drake or Goff, Goff is a lot more interesting now because of the signing they had. But I would go Pittman over Waddle, though. I think I would take Pittman here.
Yeah, I think I'm going wide receiver as well, only because, again, if Goff is someone you are considering, you know, he's been available a little later. You know, I mean, they are kind of actually all going kind of in the same time, but basically, actually, it went McCarthy, Goff, and then Drake May in this draft here. Pittman and May went back to back, right with London there, and then Waddle. So these guys literally are all kind of in that same spot.
Same group.
But yeah, if it's 3 wide receiver or 2 or more flex, I'm probably going to go with the wide receiver there. And I personally like Waddle a little better there. And then if it is only 2 wide receiver, though, I may, again, depending on what you're trying to do, if you want to kind of stay young, obviously, maybe take your chances with JJ McCarthy with the weapons he has over there, you know, with Jefferson and the crew. Or, you know, you can go for that solid bet in Goff. But again, you only may have a couple more years. So yeah, so that's where I'm at. So hopefully that helped you out, Codename. Appreciate the question.
I think we're all kind of leaned towards the wide receiver, honestly. So
yeah,
for the most part, yeah.
Waddle or Pittman, but I just think Waddle's the number 2 to Tyreek Hill, so that's why I take Pittman over him.
There we go. The extra point FFB says if it's a 1 QB draft, he would pass QB and draft Pittman, stack with AR. He has a 3-year contract, but can't go wrong with Waddle either. So yeah, we're all kind of laying on the same thing.
Yeah.
We got Dubs Win in here saying,
Hello.
"What up, guys? How's it going? How's it going?" I see he's a moderator, but I don't know this Dubs Win. Who is this? Did you change your name? Who did you used to be? Because it's obviously a moderator. I don't remember making a Dubs Win a moderator, so let us know who that is. It could be even Dustin. That might be
So
Dustin.
maybe Dustin. Like
It might
yeah,
be
who else
Dustin
would
in there.
be rocking
I appreciate
Dubs
it if it is. He says, hit that like and subscribe button while you're here watching, please. Much appreciated. That sounds like Dustin. And Smokey the Cat Can't saying what's up again. How's it going, Smokey? All right, so let's get to this thing. We got
All right.
Spitter here in the 3 spot. Go ahead, Frank. Read off
we
the
got
team for us.
Spitta coming up. He went QB with Jalen Hurts, and Daniels here picks up his running back, and Taylor picks up Zay Flowers as his first wide receiver. DK Metcalf. Then he picks up a tight end and Kyle Pitts, who I think a lot of people have high hopes for him again this year. I'm not falling for that trap. I still want to see it before I fall. But I guess the quarterback and the coaching has changed over there, so hopefully it opens this guy up. But I'm still waiting to see it. We got Cooper Kupp coming in the 7th round. What a nice landing spot for him. I think he still has something in the tank there. We got Chris Godwin, Keenan Allen, again with the new team, looking more like a possession receiver. Again, another guy at the twilight of his career. Tony Pollard going over here to Tennessee. Hopefully he gets this running straight over there. We got Johan Dotson over there in Washington. Daniel Jones as his 3rd QB off the board. Gus Edwards with the new team in the Chargers. And then Brandon Cooks over here at Dallas to round out his team. I like the build. Not so much some of the players, I guess. But I guess having JT up here, I mean, he is the top running back, and I think we were pushing wide receivers a lot. At some point, some of these guys gotta drop down, and you got to take the best available. And I think that's who he was taking at that point there with JT. Kyle Pitts again. It just throws me off with Kyle Pitts. I'm just still worried about that guy. I don't know how you guys feel about him, but I mean, he did basically fill out his wide receiving core or his receivers with 5 picks straight up with, and including Kyle Pitts in there. Then he went back to running back, which Tolly Pollard and then Gus Edwards at later on, kind of looking kind of weak there as far as I'm concerned. But still like a B plus on this team because I like the Daniels young, Hurts still pretty young. Obviously, top quarterback. Daniels could be somebody like that, and picking up Daniel Jones later on just as a 3rd. Hopefully he gets his ship straightened out over there in New York, but he's not looking too hot. I forgot who was it, the wide receiver, that rookie wide receiver had a bet with his counterpart at 10K and decided to take that bet back after playing with Daniel Jones. So I'm not sure if that would have.
Neighbors had a bet with somebody?
Yes.
Yeah,
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, with Daniel's LSU teammate, they had a bet like $10,000
Yeah.
to win
Yes.
Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
And he rescinded,
and
huh?
he said he rescinded. He was like, not with this dude.
One
So,
practice with DJ.
I'm
like
just saying,
that.
whatever that's worth or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I do like the
man.
construction. I'm just not a fan of the players. I mean, I like Cooper Kupp, Metcalf. Maybe I'm selling myself on it. I just not Pollard just couldn't get it done. I'm not sure if he's going to get it done in Tennessee.
So where you at with the grade?
Yeah. I'm thinking B, just a solid B. Not B plus.
Straight up B.
Just B.
All right, go ahead, Tycoon. Where you at? Give
I
us your
like this team a
breakdown.
lot more than the first two. I love the foundation of the team being Hurts and Daniels at quarterback, Pitts in the 6th round at this point, and I do believe in the new coaching staff, competent quarterback helping to unlock Pitts. I've never wavered in my belief of the talent, so I'm excited that his situation potentially might now be what he actually needs to thrive. I love the receiving group. Obviously, there's a bit of age there with Kupp and Allen. Godwin's 28, so he's getting there, but still prime. DK and Flowers still on the young side. Dotson on the young side, who I think there's still a bit of hope for. Daniel Jones is a late QB3, I think was nice. Running back is a little bit fragile, of course, with really hero RB there with Taylor. But if you're going to go with that kind of running back group, that strategy, I think having Pollard and Edwards there is fine. I mean, Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh are going to run the hell out of the ball. J.K. Dobbins has not proven to be a very durable back, so I think Gus will get plenty of opportunity there. And I think Pollard will be fine in Tennessee, good enough, to fill that RB2 role on an otherwise really strong team. So I think it's built for now with staying power. I mean, I think this is an A- team right here.
Dang, A- B.
Nice.
So we all know where I'm at on this team. Cue up your
It was
C
a high
for
tight
me.
end.
I'm opposite on this one. So sorry, Spitta, but he's my guy. We know that. We DM a lot. But yeah, I mean, I have him as kind of like I feel like it's a mid-tier kind of contender. I feel like he has maybe one year or so kind of shelf life on this, and then things are going to start, having to move. You mentioned that wide receiver room, and when I look at that, and I don't really see like a solid wide receiver one, kind of core to build around. I mean, again, you have Flowers, you got Metcalf, you got some of these guys who were wide receiver ones at one point, I guess, but it's still a little tough for me, building my team around a 5'9", wide receiver with a running quarterback. Just not my personal cup of tea there.
I'd have taken
obviously
more, sure, but still.
Yeah, just it's just how I feel. It doesn't mean I'm right. It's just my feel on this, my opinion. I mean, you guys know I love DK. I mean, I like the pieces just together. It just doesn't do too much for me. I think it's a great redraft team, but as far as like dynasty team, I wouldn't build my dynasty team like this.
That's a good way to put it. Great redraft team.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's A- in a redraft team. You're just trying to win this year. Like, yeah, cool.
Nah,
like, I think he'll be in contention.
Of youth here. This team's not going anywhere.
No, I know.
I don't know why you're saying that at all. I think that's crazy.
I just meant in the wide receiver,
like Keenan Allen and Cooper Kupp, kind of.
Keenan Allen, Kupp, Godwin's on the back half. Coming off major injuries.
What are you talking about? He's 28.
He's coming on that back half.
At least 3 years.
He's kind of hit his peak, and then we've also seen what happened is he completely fell off with Baker. I mean, he was doing great with Tom Brady.
This year. He's good to go, baby.
All right. So again, like I said, I still like the pieces.
My point. He's 28.
28. It's older. Whereas, Nasty Hawk had no one over 27.
We're talking.
He had no one over 27. So I'm just saying, I might be an ageist, and I look maybe too much into these wide receivers. Maybe that's where I'm just putting too much of it. But again, as far as a dynasty build, if I was looking at all these teams, it would be like one of the last ones I'd want to take over as an orphan, just because it looks like there's a lot of work ahead. So again, just not my preferred way to build out a team. But hey, to each their own. And again, I could be wrong, so it's all good. I've been wrong every once in a while. I'm there, but yeah. So I got that one coming in as a C plus on this one. So, so there you go. All right, so we'll move on. We can agree to disagree. For the sake of time. So go ahead, Frank. You can read the next one. We'll let Tycoon go with the next one after that. So we got JW in here in the fourth spot.
JWN 71 here. He takes CJ Stroud as the number 1 QB. Very good pick. Love that guy. Garrett Wilson, another good guy. Chris Olave, another good wide receiver there. Then we went with Barkley and Ken Walker here as his running back. Horde comes back with Stephon Diggs. Then he goes Baker Mayfield, that is a QB2. We were just talking about him, serviceable guy, but I think that the top core is really nice.
$100 million Baker.
Yeah, right. Kirk Cousins, Christian Kirk. I'm sorry, Zay White, and then finally gets a Dallas Goedert tight end here in the 11th, who really had a lackluster season last year. Hopefully, springs back this year. Quentin Johnson, then Roshan Johnson, and then Gardner Minshew breaking up the last spot here. I like the team. I like the youth of the team. With some of these guys, I don't care for Baker Mayfield. Other than that, all the other pieces really look really good to me. I would almost close to an A on this game. I think I would give him an A on here on this build. Mostly because of CJ Stroud, Garrett Wilson, and Olave. I really like those guys. What do you guys think?
Giving out A's, Frank. That's tough.
Hey,
giving out an A. Good job, John. Good job.
I love this team too. Honestly, I I mean, I don't love Baker as QB2 necessarily, but
That's the only
what he
spot
did
that I
in
don't like.
between the core, but in between, I love every pick for the most part. Like I'm Diggs being your wide receiver 3, obviously getting older, who knows what's going to go there, but that's fine. You have Wilson and Olave. Barkley, is 27, but still going to be primed for another good year or two. Walker, obviously, still on the younger side. Monty still got another good couple years, you would think. Zamir, who knows if Pierce, keeps staying committed to him, good for another year. Goddard's a fine late tight end, a little on the older side, but whatever, easily replaceable. Johnston, I don't love. But again, you're taking a flyer on a year 1 guy whose price is, or a year 2 guy whose price is suppressed after a poor year 1, and paired with Herbert, I don't hate the shot at 12-9. Like that's
A ton of
do a lot
vacated
worse.
targets.
I
Yeah,
was about to say, so they
anything
got
can
to
happen.
somebody over there, right?
I just don't really believe in the talent. Is really my
Yeah.
only.
He had his
That's what
shot
you're
last
telling-
year. Yeah, he had his shot.
Yeah, he didn't take it. Yeah.
Fine as a last round quarterback pick just to shore up that QB3 to a degree. I mean, for me, it's another A-. I really like this team. It's it's similar. I think it's built for now and has staying power similar to Spitta's team, except the core is more built around receivers and quarterbacks.
All right, there we go. A from Frank, A- from Tycoon. Where do you think Ross is coming in at?
You're going opposite where we're doing.
Nah, I'm right with you guys. I got A- B+ on this bad boy right here, man.
Cool.
So we're in line on this one, man. So I come in as a B+, A- on this. I think it's a win now contender. You got that stud QB1 with that nice vet, just kind of nice QB2. Does have that backup QB3, although I did hear that Aiden O'Connell kind of took the first snaps. So we'll see what exactly happens there. Maybe it's a competition. Technically, they let him take the first ones, but I'm sure we all kind of expect Minshew to kind of,
I think AOC will be week
season,
1
right?
starter. I just don't think he hangs on to the job that long.
Okay. You think they just? Oh, so you think he starts, but then Minshew comes in later?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know I think if he's I was gonna say I think if he starts, he's probably good because Pierce probably gonna run the ball 40 times a game and not really put O'Connell, in a bad position. And then when he does, I mean, it's like a 40% target share to Devontae Adams, which is what I would do if I was, had Devontae Adams on my team too. So yeah, but yeah, so that's just a little interesting spot there. Early investment, in that running back position there, just basically means he is going for it. Love the 2 running backs there that he was able to get and still be able to put this wide receiver group together. Just almost a master class on how to do that. Your spot has a lot to do with that as well too. Kind of the way the draft falls to you, but I think he took advantage of it. And then that wide receiver room has again the nice core with some productive vets behind it for some nice depth. I would like maybe 1 or 2 more maybe wide receivers, but I can't complain about that. That's just nitpicking. Late tight end, again, RBs are solid. I mean, I can't complain. So yeah, I'm right there with you guys. B+, A-.
Nice.
All right, you want to go ahead, Tycoon, and read off phase 300 here in the 5 spot?
This guy's was
phase 300, breaking the quarterback run in the first round, taking Justin Jefferson in the 5th spot, followed up with Jordan Love to get his first quarterback, Sam Laporta in the 3rd round, then started focusing more on wide receiver with Devontae Smith and Rashee Rice in the 4th and 5th, Mike Evans in the 7th. Also hit quarterback here in these mid rounds, getting Bryce Young and Matthew Stafford for that QB2, QB3 position. Probably looking to have Stafford ride the immediate timeline while Bryce continues to develop, if he's still got some hope for him. Joe Mixon as his RB1 with another veteran a couple rounds later in James Conner. And then Chase Brown as his backup. Cortland Sutton as a depth receiver, along with Khalil Shakir and Michael Wilson. It's an interesting team. Very interesting team. Did we have news of the second Rashee Rice offense at the time of this draft?
No,
I
think that
don't
broke
think
last
so.
Monday, didn't it? No?
Yeah, I
broke
don't
after
think
this.
so.
It broke after this draft.
All right. So,
Can't
unfortunately, it's
can't
kinda
kill
hard
him
to
for
figure-
that.
But even if you
No.
have that news, he's got good talent. I mean, let's say we just scratched this whole this season.
Yeah.
He's still obviously very young. The talent's there. We've seen it.
I know he came on
Do
late.
you knock it? Does he
Had a
drop
good
down that
playoffs.
farther? Does it? I'm just saying in general. Would he drop that much further down, or would that's the right spot for
For
him now?
for me, yes. Just the buildup of these incidents is always a big red flag to me. I didn't really have a whole lot of Rice. I would have been looking to trade him. I mean, well, not immediately because nobody's going to give you anything for him as soon as that type of news breaks. But I would not feel good about him, regardless of his talent in a situation. I mean, when those things stack up, it's a big concern for me before he does something else stupid and is out for a year, and then loses favor with the team, and then forget about him. The slippery slope is something that weighs on me. But as for this team, though, we'll take that out of the equation. I mean, I still do like the receiving group a lot, at least the top four, if you count, Rice as your wide receiver 4 for the immediate future. Evans still projecting to do well with Baker for at least another year. So Jefferson Smith, Evans, nice youth with Jefferson Smith to carry on, even as Evans fades into the sunset and rookie picks come along. Love is a fine pick there at 2.8. I might have taken Daniels instead, but at least Love's already proven some things on the NFL level, so I'm not going to be too upset about that. Tight end 1 overall in Laporta, and the third is essentially a wide receiver 1 when the true elite tier of wide receiver 1s has already been drafted. Fine with me. You're still building around strong pass-catching targets in a PPR league. I don't really like the running back room. I think Mixon maybe does well potentially with the Texans in year 1, but with also adding Diggs and Stroud's performance last year, it feels like it's going to be an extremely pass-heavy team. So we'll see what happens there with Mixon. I do like Connor there in the 11th round, though. That's nice. I like the quarterback room. Stafford, great for now. Bryce, I think there's still hope. When you have a coach get fired midway through year 1, as Frank Reich did, and I know Tepper's kind of a wild owner, but still, I'm going to cut the QB a little bit of slack in that case, similar to Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer in Trevor's year 1.
Right.
And the depth in the receiving room is okay. I have no problem with Shakir, actually, in the 13th round. I think that's pretty nice.
I think that's one of his best picks.
I can't say, I have a lot of faith in Sutton. And if
I don't think
anything,
he's going there as
Shakir
we
and
get
Sutton
closer.
in those rounds, I would have been, okay, I'm good, very good with that. Wilson, late, sure. It's decent depth. So I would give this probably a solid B. Yeah.
Be on that. Where you at, Frank?
I'm not as in love with the team. I do like some of the pieces. I think Jordan Love is going to be, have a much better season this year. I think he's shown some things and he's going to get better. I like the Sam Laporta pick. The Rashee Rice and Bryce Young, not so much. I think he faltered there. I think he came back with some Matthew Stafford, but he's albeit old Stafford now. He's still slinging it out there. He's throwing some yardage, so I mean, there's something to be said about that. And I like the Khalil Shakir pick later on at the 13th, but I'm still like at a C at this team. Like at the end of the day, I'm not sure if he's trying to win now or just trying to shoot for some youth or what's going on with this team as far as the build is concerned. Just some of those guys are just way too questionable for me, especially Rashee Rice and Bryce Young. We mentioned earlier he didn't have that news before, but I mean that's very concerning if this guy just doesn't get it and then just keeps getting in trouble, and then next year he's just suspended for off-field stuff and keeping him off the field. He could be, the next. What was it, Johan Dotson? What was his name that was always smoking and this guy can just not get on the field?
Gordon.
Josh Gordon. Yeah. It just reminds me of something like that. We're just, although Josh Gordon had all the time, by the time he got on the field, he was like past his prime. He spent 4 years off the field for just smoking weed. You could just wait a couple of years and then get high.
Then go do all your stuff. Take your money and go have fun.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, they should legalize it in the NFL anyways. But I mean, what's the point here? But I mean,
that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah,
we'll keep it moving forward.
Exactly.
So you said C on this one.
I'll say C. I'm not too thrilled about this team. And I do like the Shakir pick late. I give him props for that, but not
there you go.
Not compared to these other teams. It's just not falling there.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say this team. I have it down as a B plus. I think it's 1 year away kind of from like a solid contention, but I like the build. I like the thought process that he was going to. When putting this team together. I mentioned when we were kind of doing the mocks, just because you draft that QB2, the younger guy like this doesn't mean you have to start him week 1. He came back and got Stafford, obviously invested that 9th round pick, whereas a lot of everyone else, didn't take that third quarterback, if they even took a third quarterback, not until like the 11th with Fields, who's not even starting, and then the 12th round with a couple other starters, kind of low end older guys down there. So I think he grabbed Stafford in the right spot. That's who I wanted actually to fall to me later in that round. But you had that nasty, once he took Stafford, like all those QBs basically just went right there.
Started a little run right there,
which is why no one was picked again until the 12th. So again, I like it. Invested in, that obviously with Jefferson, the wide receiver core, that's where I kind of start with all dynasty teams. Love that there, even with Rice, again, for the long term. I think that's still good. As long as he doesn't kind of ruin himself, almost like Jameson Williams, and kind of have all that hype, kind of go away. There's, a couple pieces he'll have to, sell off soon, maybe Evans and Sutton. Maybe he can kind of turn those into a couple picks, or maybe get a, younger player to kind of add, to this team. But yeah, I came in as a B+ on this one. And then, it does have the tight end one with Laporta here. So I like the build, and I thought he executed the draft well. So,
and I think you were the one that was trying to trade with this guy during the draft, remember?
No, I was trying to trade with the next team during the draft. I was trying to get to it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's our boy Kendall over at the Fantasy Football Tavern. So before we get to his, Dub's win is actually Wilson. So that was interesting to find out. So what's up, Wilson? Right. How's it going? Smoking the Cat says he just did a Superflex startup. He went wide receiver heavy. Ended up with Jane Daniels, Goff, McCarthy, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Harrison. Who's Harrison?
Marvin Harrison.
Oh, Marvin Harrison Jr. I was like, who the hell is Harrison? So Harrison Jr., Lave, London, Hollywood Brown, Flowers, Christian Watson, Pickens, and McConkey. Oh, I love that wide receiver room. Only drafted 4 righties, starting 2. So, yeah, I really like that team. Well done, Smokey the Cat. Oh, yeah. It's like you've been watching us for a couple years or something over here.
Killing it with that team.
Very nice. Well done.
JJ, Amon-Ra, and Harrison. Are you kidding me?
Love it. Love it.
Who you drafting with?
That's crazy. Yeah, that's. I don't know how you even pull that all off. He had to do some trades in there to make that happen. So we got Adam Kane here. Said, found you guys today, just as our Dynasty startup finished. But he liked and subscribed. We appreciate that, Adam. Thank you very much. See, we just need one subscriber per show per day. We love that. He said he had the 112. He went CD and Amon-Ra. I can't believe CD made it to the 112.
Yeah, wow.
And Amon-Ra stacked him with Goff, so it makes him happy. That makes me happy for you, Adam. So well done. We appreciate it. And hopefully you'll join us here with some more shenanigans here on the Get Right Fantasy Network, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, what's the rest of your team? I want to hear the rest of it.
Oh, see, now you got Frank interested.
No, yeah, now I'm
interested. Now we're invested.
You end up with CD and Amon-Ra, dude. That's solid.
For sure.
Wonderful
start. I want to hear the rest. Throw it up there, Adam.
There it is. We got FF Season popping in. How's it going, Season? Saying what's up to Tycoon. Hey, screw Frank and Anthony. What's up, Tycoon?
What's up?
And then we have Deanna Saunders in here saying, Deanna Saunders, what's up? How's it going?
What's up?
If you have a question, let us know. We'll get to it, but we appreciate you checking us out. And then we got Wilson saying thanks to Adam for subscribing. We appreciate it. We absolutely do. All right, so let's get moving on here. We're kind of already almost at an hour in. We're barely even halfway through. So we'll try to get through these a little more. Obviously, we're not going to do Frank's team and my team here. Maybe Tycoon can give us a quick little recap on ours if we we'll save ours to the end if we have time. Because we want to get to our underdog best ball draft, man. If you guys do want to draft with us, we're actually going to kill this stream, fire up a new stream as soon as we're done here, and then we're going to hop into a Chihuahua on Underdog Fantasy. So if you haven't already, make sure you go to Underdog Fantasy, download the app, or go to the website, sign up using that promo code GetRight, make your first deposit, and they will match it up to 50%. Or they'll do a 50% deposit match up to $250 in bonus cash is what you can earn. So basically, you deposit $10, you'll get an additional $5 in bonus cash, or you can deposit $500 and get an additional $250 in bonus cash, and they'll also get like a free pick 'em as well, which will basically be like a free pick entry for their, like their higher, lower, and stuff like that. So make sure you guys go check out underdogfantasy.com because we are going to be firing that up here soon. So let's get into it. So is it back to me? I get to read off Santos's team here, Mr. Kindle. So he's in the 6th spot. He goes Anthony Richardson, then grabs Jahmyr Gibbs, then goes Purdy and Tua. So 3 quarterbacks in the first 4 rounds. Then he goes Kyron. So again, 3 wide receiver, 2 flex, full PPR, still yet to grab a wide receiver. And then he says, screw it. He's going to go 0 wide receiver and go Brock Bowers here in the 6th. Not a bad pick. I mean, I like all these guys that he's picked so far. Just the build is a little scary for my thoughts, as you guys know, the big wide receiver guy here. Then he goes Jaden Reed. Ricky Pearsall finally grabs some wide receivers here. Grabs Bo Nix as his 4th quarterback. So he's going to be the quarterback whisperer here. And then smashes 4 rookie wide receivers here. Get some lotto tickets going. Technically 5 with Pearsall right there. 6 if you want to comp Bo Nix as far as rookies in general. Then goes Jalen Polk, Troy Franklin. I don't know why I was thinking Trey. Then grabs Wilson and Roman Wilson and
Jalen,
right? I don't know why I wanted to say Jaleel. I'm like, that's the Urkel guy.
That's McLaughlin, right?
I don't know why that was on my head. And so yeah. So as far as this here, Tycoon, where do you have Santos's team ranked? Give us your quick breakdown here.
Very quickly. Look, I love what he did with QB early and often there, but I wish he had gone running back, wide receiver, where he took Gibbs and Williams. Essentially, I wish he reversed the way he attacked the running back and wide receiver positions. Going in with a almost all rookie wide receiver and none of the top 6 or 7 rookie wide receivers among them is a little frightening. I also really, after the Corum pick by the Rams, I really don't love the Kyron selection there at 5-6. This is a C+. I mean, I think there's still a very solid foundation with those quarterbacks to build around along with Brock Bowers. I do love the Bowers pick, but and Gibbs, but I would honestly try to move Gibbs to get a proper receiving piece to build around instead. So yeah, C+. Just
there you go.
Way to build. Yeah.
Where you at, Frank?
I think we were discussing this team while he was doing it. I think he's, we were talking about win now teams and a build for the future type team. I think this is a build for the future. He has a lot of youth in this team. And we got Anthony Richardson, right? Brock Purdy's pretty young. Bowers just, and then all the wide receivers that he took and Pearsall, Mitchell, Poe, Franklin, and Wilson here, all rookies and whatnot, Bo Nix included. It's just building for the future. Probably trade a lot of these pieces. Obviously, with all these quarterbacks that he's got, he can trade 1 or 2 possibly to fill in the wide receiver gaps that he does have. Because I mean, as much as we like Jaden Reed, it's lacking, right? It's lacking there, and at the wide receiver group, running back group after. Gibbs and Kyron have one of those guys go down. What do you got? Jaleel Wright here? Jalen Wright? Like you're saying. Jaleel Wright.
See, now I got it in your head now, too.
In my head. Jalen Wright here. C at best again for me, but I think it's just also, like you're saying, it's hard to grade these because you're building for the future. Enough said on that.
There you go. I'm worried with you guys. I came in as a C+ on it. I think it's 1 or 2 years out. This kind of build isn't for the faint at heart. You got to be willing to be basically a day trader, which I know Kendall is, and this is how he loves to play fantasy. Reminds me of myself. Just drafting basically one of a position or drafting a team knowing basically I didn't like the guys that were available at that spot, so I'll pick an asset that I can trade off and possibly get the guy that I wanted that maybe went a few picks earlier. And I didn't want to reach on, someone else at that point. So I just grabbed something that I knew someone would need later and have to work out that trade. You may or may not win it. It's high risk, high reward. But it's definitely that draft strategy, that productive struggle. He's trying to hit with those wide receivers because those are the assets that can, raise in value compared to where he got them. A lot of those guys could potentially be, 3rd through 6th round picks, in a year or 2 from now. In that case, he invested early and was able to build that out. But again, it's not for the faint at heart. So you have to be a true on degenerate to draft a team like this and have at it. So So yeah, so I came in C plus just as far as taking it out how it is. Yeah, echo a lot of the same things you guys said. So we won't spend any more time there. So we'll skip Frank's team here, and we'll go to our boy Phil here. He was in the chat earlier. Hopefully, he's still hanging out with us here. P. Ruskin. He goes with out of the 8th spot, Lamar Jackson, Brees Hall, Malik Neighbors.
Waddle.
See, that messed me up too. I wanted to say Jaleel
Waddle.
again. Jalen Waddle, Ting Dell. Yeah, I was like, now I'm like hesitant anytime I mention anyone like Jay anything. Ting Dell, Devontae Adams, Mark Andrews, Trey Benson, Will Levis, Calvin Ridley, Jalen Warren. It's another Jalen? Drafting a bunch of team of Jalen's? These parents need to stop naming their kids Jalen. I guess that was a popular name. We got Aaron Rodgers, Corley, Malik Clory, and Devontae Walker here to round it out. Let's start with you, Frank. Keep it quick because we just hit an hour.
Out of time here. Jalen Walker, we got Brees Hall. So he gets, wide receiver, quarterback, running back, and then goes wide receiver heavy. Gets a Mark Andrews as is in the 7th spot. That's nice. Benson, let's see, Will Levis. I'm thinking B on this team. I like it. I'm liking the core that he's got in the wide receivers. And the quarterbacks that he has, Will Levis may not be the guy, but I mean, Aaron Rodgers is coming by. One of those two guys will be working with Jackson. I think and Andrews is stacked there with Jackson. Good solid B plus. I'd say B plus even on this.
B plus. Where you at, Tycoon?
Right there with him. Honestly, I really, really like this team, and the only thing keeping me from putting it, honestly, I can just echo most of what Frank said. I agree with him in lockstep on this one. Will Levis is a guy I don't believe in, and Rodgers, very good chance. Just one more year with Rodgers. It's kind of a year-by-year situation with him, so the quarterback situation is a bit fragile. And yeah, the only reason that I don't have this at A minus, possibly A. Really good team. I like this.
I think I gave him an A when we were drafting. I think they remember this team.
Nice. Yeah, there you go.
Because he even mentioned me. I'd still maybe even bump it up to the A, just because the youth and everybody that he has.
Oh, like
youth and talent right away. It's both. It's great.
Yeah.
There you go.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I have it as I actually went A minus B plus. A minus maybe leaning down a little towards B plus as you kind of start to squint those eyes and look at some of the stuff. But like you guys said, I like the build. Love how he got his kind of anchor hero RB there with Brees. Young MVP with Jackson. Love the wide receiver room, the depth, the youth of it, and then still does have his vet Devontae Adams as his wide receiver 4. Grab the tight end in a perfect spot. Like the Benson pick,
a really good one at that.
Yeah, I mean, what would you guys think if he had Geno here instead of Will Levis? Because that would have been his option. I mean, I think he maybe went with the right choice to take the kind of lotto ticket on the younger guy.
Yeah.
Versus Geno, who maybe has a year or two out. Like maybe it would have helped him more for this year per se to compete. But I think in the long run, you're just kind of taking that chance with Levis, and we saw some, moments with Levis. And we'll see if we'll see what can happen. Obviously, they put a lot of pieces around him with Ridley, and obviously Nook's still there. Pollard obviously still has Spears, so we'll see what happens there in Tennessee. They just got to work on that line, and then. And then still has some lotto tickets here with Corley, who I like, and Devontae Walker, who could be a piece there in Baltimore, that he has the stack with Lamar Jackson. So, Jackson, Andrews, and Walker. So I just think it was just very well done. Every pick, I felt like he didn't waste any pick. It feels like it was done with intention. And because of that, that's why I have it as an A minus. And then again, just kind of leaning B plus if you want to. Start kind of nitpicking it, only 3 running backs, that kind of stuff. So, but again, you can trade for all that later, some rookie picks and you'll be fine. So really like this team. So good job, Phil. Well done. All right. So we'll move on here. Frank, you want to read off team 9 here?
Connelson
42.
So he starts off with the wide receiver, Jamar Chase, takes the 101, I guess the 103 at this point now. With McCaffrey, which I really like. Jared Goff, Dak Prescott as the quarterbacks. Dalton Kincaid at the tight end. Xavier Worthy, who I really like as one of my guys that I drafted. Jalen Brooks. Keon Coleman, I like this wide receiver as well. Aaron Jones coming in for his third running back here. David Njoku. I don't think he needed to do that at this point. I think that's where he kind of, stumbled a little bit. You got Justin Fields, who's playing kick returner at this point. I don't know. He's backup QB at this point. Zach Charbonnet, filling in some spots there, I guess. I think he could have went more wide receiver at this point. Palmer, and then takes Kraft at the end here, Tucker Kraft, which ends up with 3 tight ends. I'm not liking that. I'm thinking C at best in the team. I like some of the pieces in McCaffrey and Chase, Worthy and Kincaid, but having 3 tight ends is unnecessary. And I think he could have just went after more wide receivers and just kind of filled this up. He could have went more hero running back with McCaffrey there and just, filled in more wide receivers or something in there. I just don't like the 3 tight ends. That's just one too many.
There you go. So you came in at a C on that
C.
one at best? Where you at, Tycoon?
Yeah, I'm also at a C, maybe a C plus. I mean, I like a lot of the individual pieces, but it's a weird, you have Christian McCaffrey, very veteran running back, veteran QBs and Goff and Prescott, and then Worthy and Coleman, Brooks, all these rookies built. I don't know. It's kind of like Nasty Hawks team to me. It's kind of, they tried to do some straddling of youth, like with rookies and some good veterans, but the final picture just didn't really come together. Only 4 receivers, but 3 tight ends.
Right? That just throws me off.
I just
can't
don't love the way the group was put together, even though I like a lot of these players individually and even where they were drafted. But the team as a whole, I don't like.
Okay. I'm even worse on this team than you guys. I got him down as a C minus only because I can't really give people D for taking their time to mock with us and spend their time and subscribe to the channel and all that. I just can't do it. My heart won't do it, but I'll give you a C minus on this one. Sometimes you're just in a rough spot. You can almost kind of make all the right picks. Like we said, I think we all agree we like almost probably every single one of these pieces individually, but collectively as an entire team, it just doesn't quite work out. Obviously the 3 tight ends is a big issue there. Taking 3 tight ends in 14 rounds. Just don't think that's, necessary. Especially a couple rookies. You got Johnson, a couple guys that you could take super late in a dynasty startup.
Yeah.
That could fill out that tight end position and give you some youth, for the future. I think it's at least 1 or 2 years away from being a contender. A lot of things will have to happen. He just either needs to sell some of those, assets off to just hedge basically right into a rebuild, or possibly trade off, some pieces to try to, head into contention. But I would probably just go rebuild on this, sell off my older veteran assets, build around the core pieces that he does have, and kind of go from there. Obviously, the Justin Fields, just feel like there's a lot of wasted picks with the team, with the tight ends and Justin Fields. It was almost just like a blank. Didn't affect the rest of the draft either. It could have been a reason why some of these other guys fell to other players or to other teams. You always want one of these guys in your league. So some guys kind of fall to you. You need someone, kind of going their own way. And who knows, it could work out. But yeah, you're going to have to, sell off some folks there. So yeah, I got to C minus.
Yeah. He would have looked a lot better. Like I was just looking at where he took Njoku. He could have took Ridley there instead of Njoku.
Yeah, that would have been great.
I mean, even just that one move right there.
This team. Yeah,
even just that one move there, it would have been like so much better. And then like waited on Zach Charbonnet and took somebody else there. I don't know. Just there's a couple places in the Kraft at the end.
Yeah, like Ridley and Troy Franklin on this team would have made it much better.
Much better, right? Yeah,
absolutely. And this Fields pick.
He had the opportunity to do so too, but it just didn't happen.
Didn't quite work. Yeah, Derek Carr. All right, give me that cheese. Whose turn is it? Did I just read off to already? Whose turn is it?
Yeah, I think it's Tycoon's.
All right, so give me that cheese. filled out the QB room. Joe Burrow in the first round, Drake May in the fourth, Sam Howell as his lottery ticket QB3 there in the 12th. Hit Marvin Harrison in the second round, Jordan Addison in the 5th, Terry McLaurin in the 8th, Christian Watson in the 10th, Josh Downs in the 11th, and Gabe Davis in the 14th for his receiving room. Travis Etienne in the 3rd, Rashad White in the 6th, Tyjae Spears in the 9th as his fairly youthful running back room, and TJ Hawkinson in the 7th round, Golcom at the 13th round for his two-headed tight end room. This is not a bad team. I think this is actually, I think it might take a year or two, maybe a year, before you're a real contender, and it could be some crafty moves. You could turn this into a real strong team pretty immediately. I personally, not a big Drake May fan. I probably would have taken Dak there instead, but I can understand if you want to go youth. If you wanted to stay younger, I would have gone Tua instead. But I do like the receiving room. I like the running back group. I'm okay with just 3 running backs anyways. As you mentioned, Rasta, you can always add a running back. No big deal there. But yeah, a lot of youth and very strong talent in the receiving room. Strong quarterback with Joe Burrow as your cornerstone piece, along with Harrison. Yeah, B plus maybe, somewhere in between. An 86 on the
There you
scale.
go. I like that number. Where
What
you
was
at,
that number
Frank?
again? What was that
I
number
said
again?
86, like a BB plus.
Yeah, somewhere right
86 out of 100.
Not quite a B plus, but almost.
Right.
I think it's really good.
It's like a B.5 plus.
I'm right there with you as far as like, let's see what happens with Drake May, right? I think that's the piece that if it falls right, it's going to look really good. If it doesn't,
May's a stud. This team's awesome.
Yeah, this guy's in trouble if that. Because Sam Howell's not going to be the guy to help him. He's a backup at best over there at Seattle, behind Geno Smith. Harrison, Etienne, Addison, I like. Scary Terry there, you got in the 8th. Like you're saying, just 3 running backs is cool. I like Christian Watson late in the 10th. Josh Downs was throwing some things up last season. So that's some hope there. Didn't get too heavy on, tight ends. Ends up with this backup Cole Kmet. Gabe Davis at the end. I'd say a solid B plus, man. Just seeing how it pans out with some of these guys. It was just kind of like taking best available because it doesn't look like the other teams, right? It's not like you see a lot of color here. And he didn't go on runs of wide receivers or runs of running backs. It was just kind of,
seems like he just let guys fall
this
to it
guy
and it
or
worked
this
out.
guy. Yeah, and it's meshing pretty well. Unlike the other guy that we were talking about earlier. Yeah, I think B plus. I think it'll work out.
BB plus. I'm a little opposite on you guys on this one. I'm down a little further. I have it kind of as a C. Maybe I can get it to a C plus with some of the stuff you guys mentioned. I just think he needs to be a buyer. For me, it's almost like you were saying, Frank. You were kind of heading basically, which was my kind of first take on this team. It was almost too balanced. Like as far as making that a negative, you kind of hit that rainbow approach that we kind of talk about, which you were kind of alluding to with the colors. Like he literally went quarterback, wide receiver, running back, quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end, and then just kind of alternated everything just right all the way down.
Right now,
yeah. So like he doesn't really have any strengths, but also doesn't have really any weaknesses, so to speak. The players themselves, kind of like the other team, like I like them, but I just think collectively together, and again, I'm just not a fan of taking running backs early in dynasty startups. I mean, ETN was like QB or running back, like 2 or 3 or something last year, something like that. I mean, he's up there 6, I think, at the worst, whatever it was in PPR. But yeah, that ETN kind of May pick is kind of what I just think he needed to gain an advantage somewhere. Fantasy football is a lot about gaining advantages, positional advantage. And I think when you go too balanced like this, yeah, like he could have really hit, some nice pieces there. It wasn't like they weren't there, but it was, again, just, kind of how we put the team together. Again, not bad. I just think it's kind of like middling contender. I don't think it has enough firepower to really compete with the higher end teams on here that we really liked, that are kind of all in and going for it now. I just think he's a little behind those guys, but he's definitely not in a rebuild. So for me, again, just not my preferred way to build a team. So that's why I come in as a C, kind of C plus on this. not something I want to do. I want to just gain an advantage somewhere and trade to be even with, in another area. Again, most likely try to, wide receivers where I want to be strong, and then I'll trade into my running backs, when I'm ready or need them. And just this team doesn't afford me the ability to kind of do that. So that's where I'm at. So let's finish this thing off with Wicked Pompano's team here. Tycoon, take us away.
Right. Well, first round pick, as we don't see very often, running back here. Bijan Robinson, James Cook then in the 5th, Najee Harris in the 8th, Devin Singletary in the 11th for his running back room, Justin Herbert in the 2nd, and Derek Carr in the 12th as his duo of quarterbacks. And then from the 3rd through 7th, really hit wide receiver hard with Brandon Ayuk, Michael Pittman, George Pickens, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Also Hollywood Brown in the 10th round, and Rashid Shaheed in the 13th. And Evan Ingram in the 9th, and Pat Freiermuth in the 14th for his tight end room. Interesting. A lot of early running backs, which I don't particularly love, even if, they're good, but it just seems a lot invested in the position early on, especially with only having one quarterback in the Superflex, so I don't really love that. But think, no quarterbacks there either. Kind of could be a tricky spot in the draft depending on your early investment. So I could see why some of these picks were made. Receiving room is really strong. Really like that. Obviously, the running back room is really strong. You could certainly do a lot worse than Evan Ingram there in the 9th round. So I'm even okay with that. But quarterback is absolutely terrifying on this team. Herbert, a fine dynasty asset, but with this team potentially with an ability to do immediate damage, short of the quarterback position. With Harbaugh and Roman, I don't love his fantasy outlook, at least right away, especially with Keenan Allen now out of town. I mean, they brought in Ladd McConkey and, second year Quentin Johnston, but Jim loves to run the damn ball. So
didn't they get DJ Chark too? I think they got DJ Chark.
Does it matter?
No, not at all. I'm just saying. I think they got somebody else, but oh no, it was Zay Jones. I think they got Zay Jones, wasn't it?
Zay Jones, and I mean Josh Palmer's there. I mean, all guys that are okay. I mean, I'm really high on Ladd McConkey, but still a receiver that I think we need to temper hopes in a run first offense.
Oh no, it is.
And
DJ
Derek
Chark.
Carr. Oof. Derek Carr's a guy I want as my QB3, not my QB2.
I'll just say,
especially when you don't have a QB3. So that's I'm not going to go D, but I am going to go C minus.
C minus. All right. What'd you say, Frank? You gave it a D.
Oh, like Anthony says, you don't want to give a guy that's drafting with us a D, but I'm gonna give this team a D.
They're still really good.
You're just not gonna. You're not gonna build to win now. You're not gonna win with Derek Carr. You need better quarterback room. The quarterback room alone, just having Derek Carr as your QB2 and no third option, you lost me. You're not. You
got to trade Bijan for.
It's a Superflex. It's Superflex. Maybe you didn't get the memo, but you need at least 2 decent quarterbacks to contend with these other guys. And
Derek Carr did finish as the QB16 last year, just so you know.
Yeah. No, you're not selling me on that. It's still a D.
I'm just
as a guy rostering from week to week, stats. There was maybe 2 weeks where you're like, hell yeah, I'm glad I had Derek Carr.
Yeah, the other ones were a nightmare. Remember, he kept getting hurt and like his shoulder was like duct taped on. It was a rough year because I had him in a couple leagues, so it was rough.
Horror show.
Yeah, I mean, just that alone. I like I like Bijan, I like Pittman.
Well, he didn't like too much else because he gave it a D.
Yeah, that's really it.
So we'll move on.
Like literally, moving
for
on.
Time's sake. We don't need to. We don't need to have your D.
Let's get these people to the next draft. I really want to read Adam's
team.
Can
I go? Can I give my grade?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm opposite of you guys on this one. I'm actually I have it as a B plus, C plus.
Oh wow. No.
Or B minus, C plus. I thought it was balanced. Again, I'm not as low on cars as you guys are. It seems like, and you guys know I don't mind not having that QB3 there. Just like to kind of gathered assets and kind of started grabbing older starting vets. I just think he valued running backs over wide receivers, which again I could see that side of it. but just again lacking that true wide receiver one. His wide receivers are just real kind of blue collar type guys, kind of wide receiver by committee, if you will. And they're younger. They're just not specific guys I personally like. But yeah, probably the strongest running back room out of all everyone here. So I think you could trade out of it. And then solid tight end. So B minus at the highest. C plus maybe where I kind of settle in more. But I mean we're not too far off. But I think I liked it the most out of the three of us. So all right, what were you saying, Frank? Now you can go.
No, I just wanted to read Adam's team that he did reply here with the team here.
Perfect. Let's go.
So
Finish
just
it
to
off.
recap, he starts up with CD, Amon Ra, and stacked him with Goff, and then he comes back with Etienne. Hold on.
Go ahead.
You did it?
I thought.
Let me do it.
Go
Etienne,
ahead.
May, Kelsey, Deshaun Watson, Cooper. Grass stock on Deshaun. That's funny. Aaron Jones, Njoku, Charbonnet, Downs, Gus the Bus, Cortland Sutton, Keaton. I like Keaton.
Keaton
Dobbs,
Mitchell. Nice.
Estime. Oh, some youth. Elijah Moore, Shalini Woods, and Mingo and Brissett. So some good pieces. It sounds like this is a good dynasty team here. He's building up.
Not bad.
I think that's a really good team, actually. Yeah.
Not bad at all,
I
yeah.
like where he's at now.
I'm like A minus on that team. Just at a quick glance. Yeah. So
Willie
well done there, Adam.
Osborne, we got Shoemaker, Joe
Oh,
Milton,
it's still going.
Trey Tucker, Isaiah Spiller. Well, yeah, because it's
Oh, yeah, it's deep.
definitely it's deep. Yeah.
Yeah, he's deep there now. There you go. So yeah, he's saying he's hoping to rip off a couple good season right off the bat. So there you go. So good luck, Adam, man. Keep us posted. Let us know. Keep checking in with us. Let us know how it's going, man. I think you will too. Let us know when you win that championship. So I saw Rini put this comment in as soon as we or Tycoon mentioned his thoughts on Will Levis. So if you want to take a second here, what are your thoughts? A little bit more detail here for Rini, and I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, please correct me. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Levis?
I don't know if she's actually going to do that. But.
I wasn't a big. I'm not particularly a big fan, at least as a player. I will say, guy's a dog, so like in a sense, I'm kind of rooting for him. Like I kind of want him to succeed. I want to be wrong on him, but he is just incredibly questionable decision making in college, and even more so in the pros so far. I mean, we've seen some of the flashes of the raw talent. The guy's got a hell of an arm, absolute cannon, and again, it's like a gamer. So like I like this style of player, but it's
like a poor man's Herbert almost.
I just don't think he has it.
Doesn't have that it factor, Rini. So that's why. So she also asked. I think it's a she. Looks like she.
Field particularly well. That's my biggest issue.
Should you trade Levis or see if maybe his stock goes up, trade him later, or run the risk of obviously it going down and not being able to trade? Already has Kyler, Brock, and Bryce along with Levis.
See what happens since you have those other pieces. I would let it ride and see.
Yeah, just let it ride into the sunset. There you go. So Phil said, thanks, fellas. Appreciate the thoughts on the team. So when we were going over P. Ruskin's team, and then Adam just chimed in, he's still hanging in here with us. Appreciate that. We always get to our chats. We try to get through our show, but we always make sure we get to our chats, man. And it is real deep. He said, thanks, boys. So again, we appreciate you as well. So I think that wraps it up here for tonight. Final thoughts? Go ahead.
Before you get out of here, Rasta B+, Frank B.
Hey, we'll take it.
Teams.
There you go. We'll take it. Shoot.
And I'll take that win over Frank too, even though I messed up.
It is what it is. Hey, I'll take a B. I don't mind.
I waited too long on Deshaun.
I knew.
If
I
liked JJ McCarthy more, you'd be at like a or a B+.
I know where I messed up at, and I seen it afterwards, and I was like, oh. But I was at a rush pick at that point, and I knew it. I messed up. So that's okay. I'll take the B. That's a win for me, honestly.
Hey, Frank, I gave you the same thing. I gave you a B myself too, because I did grade you just in case you asked. I have my notes. So yeah, so I had you in the B range as well.
Stick around with us, guys, though, because we do have another show coming right after this one. Literally, we're gonna kill this feed, start a new feed, because we're gonna go into another live mock draft or real draft, actually.
Real draft, real money.
Underdog fantasy, real draft. Stick with us. Don't go nowhere, guys. We're literally going to kill it, restart back up, and just come right back, right?
Absolutely. So without any further ado, Tycoon, I don't know if you're staying with us for the underdog draft. You're more than welcome.
I can't stay for the underdog draft, but I was glad to at least do this.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Thought so.
Thank you
But
for being here.
appreciate it. So yeah, so for Classic Mike, for Dustin, and then my boys here with me, Frank and Tycoon. Again, appreciate you making it out for us. That's for all of us here at Get Right Fantasy. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for us. We'll be back here not only tonight with our underdog mock or draft, but we'll be back on Friday with our Friday night mocks. So we'll see you guys then. Stay tuned, and we'll get out of here. Peace out, fellas.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking nothing but I tune every Friday. Strategies provided.